Elbert County Commissioners rejected permitting for the Xcel's Power Pathway project, which means as of right now, they can't go through Elbert County. So they're going to try and seize that property through eminent domain, which means against homeowners' wishes.
You folks down there in Elbert County aren't even Xcel Energy customers, is that right?
That is correct. There is absolutely no benefit to Elbert County.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Power Gab, your go-to show for all things energy and environmental policy in the state of Colorado. I'm Jake Fogleman, joined as always by my co-host Amy Cooke. And for this week's show, we're going to talk about a new wrinkle on a familiar topic. We've brought up Xcel's Power Pathway project before in the past. It's obviously one of the biggest transmission projects going on with the state's largest monopoly utility. But they've hit a little bit of a snag and have resorted to some interesting tactics to overcome that snag. And to tee that up, I'll kick it to you to introduce.
Yeah, I'm thrilled to have the Elbert County Environmental Alliance. We have somebody from the group. And just to let folks know, this is Elbert County is one of the counties that Xcel's Power Pathway project is going to go through. And Elbert County residents wanted to work with Xcel as to where that was sited. And they ran into, I guess, some stubbornness would be probably the kindest way to put it in Xcel. And one of the county commissioners actually said that Xcel was bullying residents. So there are 40 residents that need to agree. I think only 25 have, but to talk about it, and the fact is, and this is not news to anybody, if you follow our show, you know this. Elbert County Commissioners rejected permitting for the project, for the Xcel's Power Pathway project, which means as of right now, they can't go through Elbert County. So they're going to try and seize that property through eminent domain, which means against homeowners' wishes. To talk about it is Kerry Jiblits. She is an Elbert County resident and from the Elbert County Environmental Alliance. And with that, Kerry, thank you so much for being here. I know you all have been fighting this for a couple of years. So thanks for being on the show. Tell us about how did the Environmental Alliance even come to be? And then let's get into the battle you're having with this project and with Xcel Energy.
Okay, thanks. Thanks for having me. Elbert County Environmental Alliance is a grassroots group that was formed 3.5 years ago. Xcel sent out postcards saying that they were going to be having an open house for this Power Pathway. And so a bunch of people went and attended, and there was no presentation. It was just people having placards up, and you could ask them questions. And basically they said they were investigating routes through Elbert County. So a bunch of us got together, a bunch of us in our neighborhood, and we formed what's called the Save the Bijou Basin group, because the Bijou Basin is where a bunch of us live, and it's the most beautiful part of Elbert County, in my opinion. And so we formed that group, and we then changed it to Elbert County Environmental Alliance, because we felt like it was going to be a battle for all of Elbert County and not just the Bijou Basin, the more we came to know about Xcel and their Power Pathway. So we organized our group. We held community meetings. We attended county meetings. We attended Xcel meetings. We met with Xcel representatives. And they really have not listened to us at all. They haven't been willing to change anything for us, although their statement, their official statement, says that they have moved the line 50 miles to accommodate public comment. We cannot figure that out. In fact, in the Planning Commission, they were asked point blank and they couldn't explain that. So they have not conceded anything to Elbert County residents. So we've just been working to get them to change the route. We've always said we're not opposed to the project. We're opposed to where they're putting it. There are transmission corridors and utility easements out east in Elbert County that they can use, but they're refusing to do that.
I want to say real quick, Jake, and tell the listeners, if you don't know the Bijou Basin in Elbert County, just Google it and look up images. It, to Carrie's point, it's stunningly beautiful. I mean, it's one of I know you think it's a beautiful part of Elbert County because you live there, but I can those photographs of it probably don't even do it justice. They're absolutely beautiful.
And so is that, I guess, to kind of jump off where this whole controversy started, is that the prime objection to where Xcel had planned to put this big route? Is it upsetting the Bijou Basin? Is it property owner concerns? I'm just trying to get a handle on some of the main sticking points here.
So they chose not to use the route that was going to go through the middle of the Bijou Basin, paralleling it. But they are cutting across the Bijou Basin. Their route now goes down Highway 86, which is the main corridor for our county, and then it goes north and south along the Kiowa Bennett Road, which is also a main corridor for our county. The main sticking points are, number one, the view shed. They're going to destroy the beautiful views that we have. Property values will decrease on an average 45%. We hear more, we hear less, but that's kind of the middle range. The property value will decrease significantly. There's no benefit to our county. They're going within 80 feet of some people's homes. So that's a huge sticking point. Where we live and where they're putting the lines is a huge migration corridor. We have deer, elk, antelope, bald eagles, golden eagles, all sorts of raptors, all sorts of animals. And it's going right through their migration corridor. If they were to move farther east, it isn't as impactful to the animals. As well, they're going through smaller acreages. There are people on 5-acre lots, up to 1,000-acre lots, but it's more residential, whereas out east you have larger ranches, several thousand acres, and a lot of them, there aren't even people living on those acreages. So it would be less impactful to those residents than it is on the current corridor, which impacts so many people.
Kerry, why do you think they chose the route that they did? And what? I mean, if there are places where they could go and not disturb people, why not take those? Why do you think they chose the route that they did? Have they given you any reason, or is there any speculation about why that is?
Well, they'll tell you cost, number one. It's more expensive for them to go farther out east. Number two, they'll talk about there are conservation easements out east. Well, there are conservation easements where they're going. So that argument doesn't hold water for me. In my opinion, this is just my opinion, they've chosen the route that they have selected because it opens our entire county up for wind and solar development. Wind and solar projects can be placed within 35 miles of the line in either direction. And the route that they've chosen, north and south up Kiowa Bennett Road, opens the entire county up east and west. They can go all the way across our county. And then in the eastern half of the county, the line that's going east and west will open it up to the north and south.
There's probably something to that, because I remember when this project was first approved by the PUC and was first touted by Xcel, they talked about all the clean energy that this was going to unlock on the eastern plains that could be brought to the metro area, which gets to another, I think, wrinkle to this, is that you folks down there in Elbert County aren't even Xcel Energy customers. Is that right?
That is correct. There is absolutely no benefit to Elbert County.
Yeah, so it's basically Elbert County residents dealing with the fallout of these transmission corridors so that folks in the metro area can get additional power. And you can stop me if I get ahead of this, but one thing that's stuck out to me with the reporting around this ongoing spat down there is eminent domain being invoked. And you teased this at the beginning of the show, is the fact that Xcel was going around and saying, well, if you're not going to voluntarily agree to sell a part of your parcel or allow the transmission lines to go up. We'll just have it seized by the state. And it seems to me that they did that before they even got approval for a permit from you guys' county commissioners. And I'm just wondering if that's not putting the cart before the horse a little bit.
I think that's a good way to put
threatening, starting to file eminent domain claims before they even have an official permit from the county.
That's correct. I don't even remember when the first one was served, but from the very beginning, they've threatened eminent domain. When they started making offers to landowners, that was always part of their negotiations. If you don't take this, we will seize it through eminent domain. Even before it had been heard by the county, they had served condemnation orders on 13 landowners. And even since the county has denied it, they have served 3 of those 13 people. They've been officially served, so court dates are being set.
Wow.
So out of the 13 landowners that they filed, 9 have formally been served with the earliest court date set for mid-September. And that's with our county commissioners denying the project.
So tell us about your conversations with the county commissioners. You guys formed 3.5 years ago, and this was just a couple of weeks ago that the county commissioners then came down and said, you know what? No, you don't get to come into our county. You guys worked for a long time to get to that point. How have the county commissioners, obviously you guys got the outcome you wanted from the county commissioners, but what was that process like working with them?
Our county officials have been wonderful. When this started and we formed and we started having community meetings, we invited commissioners to come to the meetings. There was always at least one commissioner who would be at our community meeting to just give us information on the procedure. They weren't ever able to comment on the project, but they could talk about the procedure. We would attend county commissioner meetings, probably 90% of them for the past 3.5 years. We have had a member there speaking about one aspect or one thing that was happening. We made it our goal to give them information on what Xcel was doing. So there's been a lot of work with the county commissioners, with the planning commission. We also went to planning commission meetings and shared information with them. We met with our community development services office, talked with them about procedure, and they included us. When they did get the application, they told us that we were able to go through the application and explain why we felt it didn't meet our county's 1041 regulations. And so it's been a great working relationship with them over the past 3.5 years. And we've had a commissioner change within that. We had 2 commissioners who term limited out, and we brought in 2 new commissioners. So they've been wonderful about, just trying to work with us and hear our concerns.
Yeah, and then it ended up being if I'm not mistaken, a unanimous decision to deny that permit from Xcel. Following that permit denial, you kind of hinted at the fact that 3 folks have already been served with eminent domain papers since then. Do you have a sense of what Xcel's next steps are after getting that denial? Are they going to fight that tooth and nail? Are they going to finally listen to your concerns, or are they going to do something else?
So during the commissioner meetings, they were asked what they would do, and they said that they would investigate their backstop authority with the PUC and district courts. On our Elbert County government page, there's a statement that was just published this week where Elbert County feels that Xcel will most likely appeal in district court. Okay,
so they're going to take it to court, yeah.
And one of the reasons too, Jake, and Kerry, jump in if this is incorrect, but I think one of the reasons why the permit was denied was Elbert County officials felt like it just wasn't a complete permit, like that they were not considering things such as wildfire assessment risk and other issues. I think that was their reasoning. Is that correct, Kerry?
That was one of their reasons, yes. And in the resolution that they signed, they listed many, many different ones, mostly echoing what the citizens have been saying for the past 3.5 years. But the application was deemed incomplete for several reasons. But the fire concerns were one of them. They had several things that had not been signed by the fire department yet.
If Xcel, if they're able to seize property for the power pathway, will they be able to seize property? Will they be able to take property via eminent domain for wind and solar development? Are you all, I've got to imagine that that's a concern that you all have.
It is a concern. There is a state statute, and it's on our website. I don't know the number of it off the top of my head, but it says that eminent domain cannot be used for green energy projects. So Xcel is saying that the power pathway is a transmission line. It is not a green energy project. Now they hope to hook up green energy projects, but it is my understanding that eminent domain cannot be used for wind and solar development.
Yeah, that's an interesting wrinkle. I think that might have been a legislative fix after the first renewable portfolio standards passed back in the day, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that for sure.
You could be right. But interesting that it's about hooking up wind and solar, but it's not considered a green project.
Right.
I mean,
Correct.
It seems like they're playing with some semantics.
It is a little bit. I'm curious, have you all heard, because obviously, the power pathway isn't just going through Elbert County. I think it's 500 and some odd 550, if I'm not mistaken, miles long, and it's supposed to do a big loop through, all the way up near Longmont, down, I think near Pueblo is how far it goes. Have you been in contact with any other counties or community groups? Is anyone else dealing with something similar, or is it just you guys that are having to, Xcel Energy is trying to play hardball with?
We've been in contact. In fact, today I was in a meeting with some people from El Paso County and also Pueblo, but that was a different story. But we were meeting with some people from El Paso County who are also fighting it. I haven't come into a group as organized as ours in fighting it, and so I don't think that they're being heard as much as maybe we have been heard.
And Kerry, this is part of this is to be successful, you're going to need more voices. What is the next step for the Elbert County Environmental Alliance? Because probably somebody's headed to court.
Correct. I think right now we're just waiting to hear what Xcel's next step is going to be, and then we'll be there to voice our concerns and support the county in whatever way we can be. We're just trying to keep the word out, keep people informed of what's happening, and hopefully they will listen to us and go east. I'm not sure that'll happen without a court fight, though.
One of the things that I'm sort of surprised by, and I say that in a way, on one hand, yes, on one hand, no, that Xcel hasn't learned from its own past. And Xcel bought Public Service Company of Colorado, and it saw what it went through with Fort St. Vrain. If enough citizens speak up, they would be wise to learn from their own history, or from the history of at least the company that they bought, that residents can make a difference and push back. And if it's enough and they're loud enough, I would say politics and the PUC and the utility are downstream from culture. So I think they would be wise to learn from their own past. Kerry, is there anything? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'll say just real quick to your point about politics and everything, and you may not know this, Kerry, but it just popped in my head. Have you heard any rumblings about state involvement and like state legislator involvement in any of this? I just think maybe a year ago or 2 sessions ago, there was that bill that was going to try to override local governments' abilities to set their own standards for installing renewable energy projects and transmission projects. Are you hearing any noise about potentially doing that again in light of this Elbert County fight, or perhaps hearing legislative fixes on the other side to try to prevent more scenarios like this? I'm just curious if that's on your radar at all.
A little bit. Representative Chris Richardson showed up at the public hearing and spoke. He's one of our House representatives, and Senator Rod Pelton came and spoke out against eminent domain. I think right now their concern is local control and also the use of eminent domain. They don't believe that public utilities should have that power. Whether or not they'll introduce legislation along those lines, I don't know. I would hope so. But they have been involved and we've been in contact with them.
Okay, that's interesting. That's interesting to know.
Kerry, and before we wrap up, and Jake is always good on keeping us on time. Is there anything else you want to add? Or is there anything that you would like folks to know about the Alliance? We'll, of course, drop your website in the show notes, but is there anything else that you think we need to know or the audience needs to know?
I think you hit the nail on the head with people being able to make a difference. I think we have had an impact. I know we've slowed Xcel down. And I think it's important for people to get involved in these decisions. So many people believe that this is a done deal. You can't beat Xcel. And maybe you can't beat them, but maybe we can get them to work with us a little bit more. So I would just encourage people to get involved and to make their voices heard at the county level and at the state level.
Yeah, I would say that, listen, if you think, well, it's not going through my county, so it's no big deal, rest assured, if this is seized through eminent domain, you could be next.
Yeah, well, especially like we talk about all the transmission that will be needed to meet the state's goals. It's not going to stop at the
550 miles won't be enough.
Yeah, it's not going to stop at the Power Pathway project. But as you mentioned, we're coming up on time here. Amy, do you have any takeaways for our listeners?
Yeah, a couple of things. I think Xcel needs to learn from the past of Public Service of Colorado, the company that they bought, and just remember that when enough people speak up, their plans could change.
Yeah.
Just because the PUC gave you authority or gave you permission doesn't mean you're going to automatically get your way. Even if you get it in court, doesn't mean that it ends well for you. So I would just tell Xcel, be careful, might want to consider working with these folks. That's number one. Number two, grassroots groups, that are well organized and well led, like the Elbert County Environmental Alliance, can do amazing things. And three, last point, get a generator, because if they're hooking up more wind and solar, it just goes to show you you're gonna need to firm up your own grid, because neither Xcel nor the PUC nor state lawmakers are going to do it for you.
All right. Well, that does it for us, folks, on another episode here of Power Gab. If you like what you saw, you can head over to powergab.org to check out our entire back catalog. We produce new episodes every single week. We're also available wherever you get your audio shows, whether that's Spotify or Apple. And if you want to reach out to suggest future show topics or guests you'd like to see us interview, you can send those our way at info@powergab.org. We always love hearing from you guys. But until next week, we'll see you.